Most players waste a ton of gold trying to get a good pet early. Honestly, there's a way easier method and you don't need to do all that. All right, to start, first of all, you got to keep it simple. If you're a new player and you don't have any other characters that have a bunch of stuff on their characters already, then I'd just say keep it simple. If you're below level 50, I'd say you don't need to get a perfect pet to go with your character right away, because it's going to cost a lot of gold to do that, and that's a huge time sink early on. And the later and farther you get into the game, it's going to be easier and easier to get a lot of gold. So the first thing I think you should do is just get a simple starter pet that has good cards and don't even worry about the stats. Still show you some stats that you should look for, but honestly, the worse the stats to start, you can have a cheaper time getting the pet and you just carry it with you until you have abundance of gold to make a lot of good pets. Overall, just keep it simple. If you're a new player, you just need to do 3 things. 1, you don't need a perfect pet to start. 2, any early game pet really will help you get this starter pet used. And then 3, all you really need to do is get a pet that has a blade on it. Now, there is one difference between console and PC here. So PC is way more up to date on the updates, like they're on the latest version, and console's a little behind. So console still has the starter pets. And if you use that to hatch with another pet, it's a very easy way to get a decent pet, because they all have a high % chance of giving you back the other pet that has a blade. And I'll have all that stuff pop up on the screen. On PC, I would say you can really use any early pet you get as a drop, because usually pets that you get from a drop have a higher % chance, because they're more rare, to then give the other pet back. There's a wow factor thing that I don't want to get into, but on average, I'd say when you get one as a drop, gives you a more equal, fair chance of getting a pet you hatch with back. If you're on PC as well, you have text chat, so you could, if you're not high enough level, you can talk to people to try to get to Toli's Dragon. It's a pet that will give you the highest % chance of getting another pet back, and it costs 10,000 gold. Now, really, I'm going to break this down into schools on which pet you should hatch with. So let's start off with Storm. For Storm, I'd say you want to come here, browse pets, Primary Gulcher, or Raincore. Now, once you're in here, you can browse pets by type, and ideally, early on, I'd say just look for the cheapest one you can possibly find for you can get the cards, because if you can see there, it gives you a Stormblade. Now, later on, you'd want to look for ones that have like Painbringer, Storm Dealer, Spellproof, Mighty, Storm Dealer. Like, this is an ideal pet right here. So later on you can hatch for that, or early on if you have the gold. Early on you're not going to have that gold, and you should just get one that has a blade. Now, moving on to Death, same idea. You could do Acid Rain Core. It has a blade there. I personally like the Gloomy Eye. You could do the Gulcher as well. I like the Gloomy Eye because that also gives you an AoE, and Death does not have an AoE to start. Now, same idea with that. You want to either look for ones that have the good stat, Death Dealer, Mighty, Pain Giver, Spellproof. But early on you're not going to be able to do that, I think. So you could look for just a cheaper cost. And if you have a less rare pet, for instance, like this is a starter pet, this goes for all of them, you can find one that is down to 15k. It really depends. You just gotta look through the hatching kiosk, but the idea right away is to just get a pet that has the cheapest cost for you. There's one like right now, it's 30k. It's actually decent gear, decent stats too. Pain Giver, Deer Knight, and Death Silent, and Armor Pierce. So that's like not terrible, but for 30k, I would take that, for instance. And moving on to Fire, I'd say Ordinary Kookaburra is a good one, or Sun Serpent is a really good one. They both have blades, and same idea. You can come in here, look for ones that say Fire Striker, or sorry, not Fire Striker. They'll show the damage icon, but Fire Dealer, stuff like that. Or just look for a very cheap one early on if you don't have the gold. Moving on to Ice, hands down, I'd just say get Frosty Eye, because you get a blade with that, and then you can look through the pets again. Ice Boon, Pain Giver, Ice Dealer, like those are all solid stats. This one has Unicorn. People are debatable on if they like that or not. It's a decent May cast, but like I've been saying for all of them, just look for a cheap one. That way you get it early on pet. Balance, I'd say just get the Noble Kookaburra, and then you can do the same idea again. This one gives you an AoE, a blade, and then just look for a decent one that has stats, or like I said multiple times over, just a cheap one so you can get the card, because a blade early on is the most important piece in my opinion. Now for Myth, I might be biased here. However, I would absolutely say Lil Medusa is the best one right here. You get Medusa as a card, a blade, and then Blinding Light, and it's pretty good. For Life, hands down, you want to hatch with Kookaburra, because Life also doesn't get an AoE, so you want to get the AoE from this pet, and you just look for a cheap one so you can get the cards for it. All these pets might take a few tries to get, but they're 100% worth it. Now, like I said, if you use the starter pets, you have a higher % chance of getting it early on, the lowest % being 40% for Life. Now, this total might take like 30k to 60k or more, but early on, if you can just get a pet that has a blade, I think that's going to be a huge help to you early game. Now, in the description as well, I put a calculator that you can put your pet you have and the pet you want when I listen to this video, and then you can have the % chance of what it will be to get the pet. Now, if this guide helped you guys, please drop a like, subscribe, and do all that jazz. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.